Hello, everybody, and welcome to Was It Something We Said? This is a milestone episode for us. It's episode 10. As you can hear in the little background there, a little foreign correspondence from the Yellow Jacket. So with that,
I like it.
so with that,
I like it.
let's get started with this week's episode. As you know, the format is a news topic, sports, um, topic of interest, and jam of the week, which would be by El Jefe, and then also the message of the week this week will be a El Jefe. So, news topic from the day is my man Vance Bolin to the Minnesota hit list. Man, I heard this and I'm like, man, is this what the world's coming to? Is this what the world's always been? And is this what to expect? Okay, so for those who you don't know, a man Vance, 57 years old in Minnesota, he killed two people and wounded two others. They were all Democratic and they were all politicians. Let's say that too. So the first ones he kept, she was a representative, Melissa Hartman and her husband. He killed them, and then he went to the senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette of Minnesota, shot my man John 9 times and shot her 8 times. And then after they captured him, they found this list, which was they called a hit list, which had about 45 elected officials, all Democrats, including Tim Walz, U.S. Senator Tina Smith, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, and then ties to Michigan with six Michigan U.S. reps that was on the list.
I'd be remiss if I left out that motherfucker killed the damn family dog too. From the Hoffmans, the dog died, I think, the next day. And also on that list, he had State Rep Ullman, who the GOP doesn't like. She's part of the squad, so-called squad. That's the name they've been tagged with Tlaib and a couple others. So
yeah, which she was on the list. Tlaib was on the list.
Yeah, he's a nut job. I haven't heard what his bail is, or even if he has bail. You already got a couple of reports saying he has some mental issues. Fuck that. You got to put his ass to sleep, in my opinion. He had a very detailed list that rattled off some of the names, but some of the pre-work that he was doing, staking out their homes and keeping track of their times of coming and going, putting on the fake mask.
Well, yeah, he had the police license plate. He was disguised as a police officer. Had the black SUV with the emergency.
All that's premeditated to me. So you could think about all that. You could think about your ass in the electric chair. So this is the mask he had on here. He hit the door. The first or the couple that survived, they told him you ain't a cop. And then he bust in the house, and luckily their daughter called 911 and got the police out there. They survived, but unfortunately, this was the couple that unfortunately succumbed to their injuries. And yeah, I guess what's disturbing about it, this is what he had inside his car when they caught his ass. So yeah, ain't no mental issues here, and it's just the temperature of the country, unfortunately, that now people like him feel they're emboldened and they got this. He was a Trump voter.
Oh yeah, he had
he was a Trumper.
No King stuff in his car, everything else.
Yeah. So he had, and it's I would say there's many more out there like him. Some waiting for their chance to get their 5 minutes of fame, but to no one's surprise, he was caught alive, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's given bail, and who knows, maybe in 2 years he'll be pardoned.
No bail, but again, this is a serious thing. But when you said, she said he's no cop, what came to my mind was Mel and Tony. He said, you shot a cop. He said, who ever said you was a cop?
And rest in peace to Mel too. I sent you that message last week that Mel got his ticket canceled. He had his 2 tickets to the Promised Land
Yeah,
or to the
it's 2
Resurrection.
tickets to the Resurrection,
Yeah,
which is a movie Scarface, which has nothing to do with this.
nothing,
But
but we love it.
what you said, I'm not a cop, man. I guess I'm stupid like that, but that's what popped in my head.
Hey, anything Scarface related, we got to talk
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
what
So.
popped in my head. But yeah, from Michigan, he had Dingle on there. He had Cherie Canada, Haley Stevens, Rashida Tlaib, and then Hillary Skolton. I didn't know her, but she's from out of Grand Rapids. So yeah, now is he a lone guy? The scary part is how many that's out there. Is he acting alone?
I think he acted alone, but I think there are others out there with this mentality that if you don't look like us or think like we think, then we know we got a madman in the White House that he hasn't said shit to Waltz. He didn't call to offer his condolences. He had some snide remarks when asked if he had reached out to Governor Waltz. And that's cool. That's just the person he is. So you can't say I'm surprised, I'm shocked. He's a piece of shit. So
Yeah, and
there's
that's
no
just
surprise
weird.
there.
But
But
that just makes it more how he was imparting my man who with Big Gretch and that whole thing. So
yeah,
to your point, it's kind of part of that mentality that if we do something, we gonna be considered patriots, storming
yeah,
storming the palace, and
Capitol.
not as criminals because it's for this twisted greater good thing that they think that they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, just this morning, um, they had that church shooting. Luckily, the security guard took out the piece of scum shooter, uh, but he was armed and ready to take out the congregation. I think somebody got shot in the leg. Maybe the security guard got shot, but he got off the better shot and eliminated any question about bail or anything. So
Yeah.
it was another Christian extremists, domestic terrorists, whatever you want to call it. They're all the same to me.
Yeah, all the same. And, just hearts out to the families and
Yep.
everything else. And even for those who on the list, that is just scary again. Right, wrong, and different. You got people here who done, I won't say dedicated some of their lives, a part of their lives, as in Dingo, a lot of their lives, and trying to be representatives and have a different voice and to have dialogue to try to make things better for the majority of everybody and not just, hey, it just has to be this way and that's it. That's truly, I believe, what was meant when the system was devised. You had this, you got that, you talked about things, you compromised on things, and then that would suit the majority of the people because never gonna appease 100% of the people all the time. So it's always gonna be something, and it's always gonna be something that ain't quite go your way. To have that compromise in there, that's what the system is. But now, like you said, it's if it ain't this, then it ain't nothing. And now you have these folks that's out here coming up more, like you say, more brandish and there and doing this. And like you say, to
Well,
research those people all this time, follow them and that stuff. That's just
it doesn't help when you have idiots like Marjorie Taylor Greene that post a picture of her and a rifle after these people were shot and killed. She posted a picture with her and a rifle. Then some other GOP idiot reminded the world, or I would guess that their cult, that Kamala's Secret Service protection ends in 6 months or August, something like that. But it's like you're giving a green light to these damn extremists, and you got people in public office that are stupid and slow, but that's who they are.
yeah, that's
That's
who they
that's
are.
just no surprise. I'm not saying for the Dems the stoop is low, but
No, you can't
you
stoop
know,
it slow. But what we do know is what goes around comes around. And whereas you wishing this on somebody, We're gonna see how you act when the pimple's on your face. Then let's see how you react.
They've been very quiet. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open and pray that those that are on these lists get their shot off first.
Yeah.
So all right.
NBA Finals, do or die, baby, do or die. Who you going with tonight?
When this is over before 8:00, I'll be getting in my OKC -7, and I'm going with over 215 for the totals. Might even throw in a first quarter bet for OKC being up. I think OKC routes Indiana.
All in.
I'm going. I'm
you
pushing all my chips in
for the last hand.
All chips. All chips going in. In fact. Why wait? I'm putting that bit in right now. While it's hot in my mind.
Live from your
for entertainment purposes only.
For entertainment purposes only, folks.
Yeah, so that's my pick. I'd like to hear your pick.
I'm leaning OKC. Haven't lost back-to-back in the playoffs. Only lost back-to-back, I think, twice all season. So, and they have responded. So,
by the way, the line went down to 6.5. So, yeah.
Indiana has showed grit in this series and got it to Game 7.
They did. I think OKC is, for most of these playoffs, in all arounds, they've been not as aggressive or energetic on the road. But this is it. And it'll be a mighty fail, especially for me, if they don't win tonight.
Entertainment-wise. Yeah,
it's got one more to put in.
Yeah, I think if OKC don't take it, then yeah, it's going to be considered a huge upset, which I don't really think it is. It's just the nature in which OKC has went through the season and how they done kind of had their way with everybody. So for them to get in here,
60+ wins.
Right, 68 wins. I mean, for them to get in and then lose this Game 7, but
locked
and loaded. All in.
Yeah.
Okay, Bond, you can beat this guy. You need more money, like in Casino Royale.
That's right.
After my
the
man,
keys to the car. Felix.
After he took Bond thought he had the tail on my man. My man lit his ass up.
Yeah, Felix had to stop and say, "I'll cover you."
Yeah.
Don't shank
Jasper was out. She like, "Oh no, you can't." Bond say, "I can take him. I know I can."
Another great movie reference. Anything Bond and anything Scarface.
I need some more money.
No, Vesper wasn't giving him no more money. His line of credit was
up. So Indiana, who's gonna show up? OKC at home. Y'all got to come out guns blazing and keep it going. I mean, y'all got the talent there too. Chet, he's been a dismal series.
Yeah, his frame has been haunting him. And, Indiana's been a little bit aggressive with him, but
pushing him around.
He's still a young kid.
He ain't hitting.
He's going to put on
3-pointer.
So he's learning.
Yeah,
he's learning,
and all of them's learning because this is a young team. This is one of the youngest teams besides that Portland team to be in here if they were to win with Bill Walton and Maurice Lucas. That team. So again. If they lose, the narrative is going to be you got to pay your dues before you get there. It still will be considered a major upset.
It would be a major upset. It would be a major choke job. To me, that message wouldn't hold true because if it was the Celtics beating them, yes, you got to pay your dues. If it was another Eastern Conference, if it was the Knicks, but not Indiana. Indiana they were supposed to beat Indiana convincingly in this series. So it would be a choke job to me if they don't come out and win.
I would think anybody besides Boston is a choke job because Boston was defending champs, had all the other stuff there too, even with New York. They're supposed to wipe New York out as well. So
Cleveland, you could put Cleveland in there too, just from the record standpoint, but They Cancun or Cabo. So it don't matter.
Fish it.
What about the NHL? Got new Stanley Cup champions?
Well, no, we got a repeat champion.
Repeat.
Yeah,
That's
back
right.
to back. I think that's the first time since the Lightning did it about 10 years ago. Back to back Stanley Cup champs. But hey, Panthers is tough. They made the right moves at the deadline. That's what got them Marchand, and then they got the Seth Jones from Chicago. They only gave up a conditional second round pick and 27 from Marchand at the trade deadline. And
yeah, he scored a lot of goals
and
too.
And he was just key in that. Game 6,
I think
not even close.
Nope.
I mean,
yeah, I was mad too because we had the family trip down in Orlando and I couldn't make a bet because this damn app don't travel outside of Michigan, so I couldn't join in on that one. But you know what amazed me after that series was over was finding out some of these injuries that these players, Matthew Tkachuk in particular, most of the postseason, forget the Stanley Cup Finals, most of the postseason, he had a torn abductor, and I had to look that up because I've heard of an abductor, but I have no clue what it was until now. Imagine being a hockey player and you playing with this injury, and what it is, I guess it's a tendon from your ass going to the side of your hip. So if it tears, imagine he's skating, power skating too, and he's sprinting, he's changing direction quickly, sudden bursts. He did all that with this torn abductor. And this just reemphasizes the fact that hockey players are some of the toughest athletes one would deal with. Could you imagine playing with that sort of injury?
No, others, but they ain't playing with that.
His game didn't change.
No, they tough, and they get their dentist a lot of money because they ain't got no damn teeth.
Yep, stitch them up. Find the chiclets, keep them to the side. Tooth Fairy see you overnight, and that's about it. Get back on the ice. Finish your next shift.
Yeah, but game 1 was tight. 3-4 Oilers overtime. Game 2 tight. Panthers 5-4 Oilers overtime. I think that one might have been the double overtime game. Then game 3 Panthers 6-1. Then game 4 tight again. 5-4 Oilers. Then games 5 and 6 wasn't close. 5-2 and then 5-1. So
and they shut down 97 too.
Yeah, they shut them. They shut that down. And if you look at it, it was 28 goals scored versus 17 goals. So yeah, those last 2 games when they spelt the blood, they dominated. They dominated those 2 games because game 6 was over with early.
And the flip flopping of goalies didn't help. Edmonton's chances with Skinner and the other guy they were thrown in there. Skinner's confidence was shot when they benched him. They had nobody to go to after that.
No, they didn't have nobody.
Well, we'll be out of basketball after tonight. You got the NBA draft next week, and then it's just baseball and whenever they want to show some old tired WNBA games.
Yeah. But
try to keep your interest.
We do got the Lakers selling for $10 billion.
It's a nice profit from the Buss family.
$67 million they paid, 79. They own 66%. My man Walter, my man, he got a sports collection because he's the Dodgers guy as well.
Yeah.
So now,
printing money.
Now he got the majority of the Lakers. I mean, Celtics sold this year in March, $6.1 billion. So it seems like what I'm gonna call it, mom and pop owners is now going to most of the corporations and that type of thing. Because I think with the money that's coming into it and the game and that stuff, I think you got people just say, hey, it's time to cash out and let it go on because, again, we ain't going to be able to compete with the product, with how things are going with the rule changes and the caps and everything else. So, and people saying, is that something you should want for forever in your family? Yeah, forever is $10 billion. So
they still got a minority stake in it, so they still got some checks coming. Not as much, but when you get $10 billion off of $67 million, who's counting? Who's checking balances?
Exactly. Yeah. And old storied franchise, 11 championships since 79 at the Lakers. But two of the most storied franchises has been sold this year from, the mom and pop owners to the big corp owners and that stuff. But, that's almost 4 billion more than than Boston sold for back in March.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the values are of these other NBA teams from top to bottom. Like the Pistons or even OKC, these small market teams that are, on the up and up. A team like the Knicks are highly valued because of that MSG brand that they're under.
And it's a big market
Huge
city
market
as well.
Yep.
So, like you say, hey, Jenny done made the deal. Jenny done made the deal.
Signed the dotted line.
That's it. Next topic, Adriana Smith.
Sad story.
Adriana Smith was a 30-year-old Georgia nursing mother who was 8 weeks pregnant when she was declared brain dead in February after suffering a medical condition. When you kind of look at the story and that stuff, it's a shame because she did go to the hospital because she had some issues and stuff, and they gave, take this pill, go home, and that kind of stuff there too.
She had blood clots in her brain.
She ended up with blood clots in the brain, and that's how she ended up, blood dead, brain dead. So hospital, they just say family claims, but yeah, hospital told them that legally that she had to be left on life support until the fetus was allowed to grow, and that they had no other opinion legally. In these type of cases, they cited this law, the abortion law, which is a heartbeat law, which they call Life Act, which really, if you got a heartbeat, which is really after 6 weeks, then that too.
In Georgia.
It's a Georgia law. And yeah, it was abandoned. Then once Roe versus Wade got reversed back up, then hey, yada yada, it's the law. But in that case, people argue, that's in case of abortion. Not saying that the family would have taken her off or whoever, but who should be who you feel should make this call?
I'd love to say the family. I'm showing a picture of Adriana now, young, beautiful life, and politics got in the way on this one because the baby was born just, I think, a few days after she died.
No, baby was just born a few days ago.
I'm sorry, in June.
Yeah,
you're right.
Well, yeah. And then too, I don't know if the family should fight the law, but again, yeah, who should be making these decisions? And that's the real thing that comes down to it. Should the family, should you have your stuff in order to say, hey, if I can't speak for myself, here's my medical, person that's ahead, that should do it. I don't know. I mean, Kai was born 2 pounds, 8 ounces. She was 8 weeks early. So we almost 27 years later. So again, but it's tough because you're talking about a child, but just to have the family's hands in that tied there too, because who knows what her wishes and all that stuff was. So
right.
Again, it's just one of those and other things that, like you say, politics got in the way of this thing.
Yeah, and for what? I mean, because of I guess it gets back to the fetus, and when you consider, when does life start? It's just a messy, tricky, complicated situation that unfolded there, and I really feel bad for the family that they had to wait from February to June, to put some finality and to see some new beginnings occur with, her being pulled off of life support and then the baby coming via C-section.
So another one of those things.
Terrible.
Politics get in the way of it, and then just what do you do? So again, another thing that's, tragedy, a lot of, it's a lot of tragedies that goes on that, that's unspoken, that happens to a lot of people that have to endure and all of those things with that.
I'm just interested when the narrative starts to affect the majority, what happens and where's the outcry and we're not waiting until we hear a heartbeat, or because I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure when somebody's pregnant, you get a heartbeat right away. It's a life. What's changing, 4 or 5 months later, the embryo's developing. But to me, man, I think it was a sad situation for the family have to endure that situation.
You're right. Especially if that was not what they would have done. I mean, if they would have did it anyway, which maybe why they didn't make big of a stink about it, because of the child to have, another child to remember, the daughter and stuff by. But no, that's just put people in bad situations that should not be put in those type of situations.
Well, the baby boy's name is Chance, and he has a chance, and he's got the perfect name for the situation. And I pray for his development and the family that has to raise him with the mother gone. I didn't read up much on who the father is or what his role is and all this, but
he was there because he the one took her to the hospital and that kind of stuff. So it's not like he was not around. So he was there with her when they come up with the brain clots and that stuff there too. So again, like you say, it's just a bad position to have to be in. Bad position to have to be in.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right. With that, we go up to the jam of the week. What you got for us this week, LF?
All right. You know what? With this satellite radio, I tend to hear a lot of good music. And one song that I heard recently took me back to a song that came out in 1989, song by a group called Soul to Soul. And it goes a little bit something like this. This song, I remember when it came out, I think we had our Corvettes back then.
Yeah.
And it prompted increase in speed. whenever I heard it. But no speeding when I heard it this time. But it's just a different song from the music of today.
Yeah, you got the acapella version starting off. So yeah, that was the jam.
Yeah, I know. And it's about to kick in a second. How it really gets going. Yeah, I'm gonna play a different version. Say like this version here after this commercial. No, but the song to me, man, just brought back memories from back in the late '80s and the early '90s for us, and we could start driving down to Belle Isle or just wherever,
exactly,
and songs like this playing. And this is the start right here.
That jump.
Yeah, and they're a British band. There was a lot of British bands that people didn't know they were from the UK. They brought some good tunes over the pond. So it's not just the Beatles that could do it from Britain.
No, Beatles had the invasion, but like this, you say,
Soul to Soul and Back to Life. So if you get a chance, listen to the whole song. But like I said, brought back some great memories of when we were doing our thing in the late '80s, early '90s.
Yep,
we was about 8 years into working and buying new cars and just enjoying life, and we're still doing those things. But when we played golf last week and Andre asked us a question, name 3 songs and 3 artists from today, and I couldn't do it. 3 or 10, whatever it was. I couldn't name 1 or 2.
He said name 3 artists and 3 top songs on the Billboard. I couldn't do it either.
Couldn't do it. Had no clue in hell. But I say that to say this. That kind of goes into my, my message. I'm going to share something else from my screen with the audience here. And my message is, when you show love, you get love. And what I have here is some pictures of a gift that my girls and Kevin's daughter put in and got both of us. So what it is, it's wall art that basically commemorates the start of our podcast. Was it something we said? And it's got some lighting, different colors to it. The year we started, which is this year, we're our 10th episode in. And I really, really appreciate this gift. And again, my message is when you give love, which Kevin and I do for our daughters, our families all together, but especially our daughters. So we're getting that love back. And I joke with my girls that, who's going to be changing my diapers when I get to that age where I'll be wearing diapers, and nobody's raised their hand yet. But
nobody raising their hand to clean no shit.
But I know somebody better do it. But no, but in all seriousness, I want to thank Candace, Kristen, Alexis, Ashley, Armani, Autumn, and Kai on behalf of you, Kevin, for collaborating, putting their heads together, because we get great input from them on our show, our podcast as well.
Yep.
And great feedback, constructive criticism, and they supported us from day one as we supported them from day one and still do. So again, my message, when you give love, you get love back tenfold. Thank you to the girls for thinking of us. And Kevin, I'll be meeting up with you later this week to get yours in your hand and
yeah,
so you can hang it up on the wall.
It'll be behind me for the next episode 11 in the background. That gift's fire. I mean, just the creativity or something, because she kept saying, well, there's something coming. It's coming from Poland. I'm like, it ain't coming from Poland. All right, it goes some more socks or something. Yeah, man. That's a surprise. That is a surprise, joyful surprise that they thought of that and got that for us for Father's Day. That's
well, I'm glad you like the picture, but you will love it when you see it and hang it on the wall and plug it in and get the lights to flash. So that's my jam and that's my message. And thank you for allowing me to show it.
No problem. So until next week when we do episode 11 of Was It Something We Said. Peace and love you, my brother.
Love you too, my brother. Have a safe week, and I'll see you at the end of the week. All right?
Righty. You too.
Thank you.
Yep.